He has the $20 plan and he got a $2,700 bill from his tool. Now, I don't know about you, but that's different than $20. So this might shock everybody out there, but Ashley and I actually are disagreeing on something. Now settle down. It's not that bad. But we were talking about these different dynamics, not necessarily dynamics, but I was talking about a particular subject on AI in the workplace. And I said, I think we ought to talk about this. And she's like, yeah, I don't think so. So she brought up something very interesting. And it is when we are of different ages, and y'all probably know who's younger, right? Just saying.
Randy.
And she reminded me, well, maybe it's got something to do with our different age groups. So we want to dive into a little bit of this. We're going to talk a little bit about some articles that we saw this week and talking about all kinds of stuff with AI. We're going to talk about some people trying to cap AI. We're going to be talking about some billionaires saying, oh, you can only use this much credits. And we got other companies that are hiring people back that they got rid of. Well, because this is AshRand Career Solutions, and we talk about all things related to employment, life, and business. Ash, how are you?
Doing good. Super excited to kind of dive into the difference of and kind of what that looks like with AI. It's exciting, but yet interesting.
Yeah, and guess what? So we hear, on one sense, Ash, I came across this article here that Tesla was capping their staff spending. Billionaire. Capping spending. What are your thoughts on that? What's going on over?
I'm very interested on what the cap is necessarily to, or what was the overspending. Usually when organizations try to cap, it means something is overdue, something's in the red, and I wonder what that is. And is that office tools? What does that look like? Or if it's just expenses towards the job. I'm just really interested to kind of dive a little deeper to see exactly what that spending cap is.
A $200 weekly cap on AI tool spending starting July 6th. Now, they've been watching it, apparently. So I'm watching this, y'all, and we're going to wrap this around into what you should be watching out for with your own tool spending. And we got a real bad story that I need to tell y'all about. I know when he hears this, if he watches this podcast, he's going to go, hey, man, you're talking about me. I'm not going to use your name, buddy. Come on. But a lot of things, Ashley, what's happening is compute cost, right? Yeah. Now, I experienced it the other day when I had a tool tell me, hey, you're out of credits. And I was like, what do you mean I'm out of credits? It's like, you're out of credits. We give you this many credits. And they even show me how many credits are going down each and every time. Now, this becomes, I think, important when you got big companies that are saying, yeah, hey, cut that out. And then you start looking at what you do yourself. And sometimes you don't have a meter for yourself. You're not metering yourself. And if you're not metering yourself, you're going to get a big bill. I had a friend, Ash, he has the $20 plan and he got a $2,700 bill from his tool. Now, I don't know about you, but that's different than $20.
That is huge. That is a huge difference between the $20. But let's talk about, right, like with these organizations and essentially how they're trying to cut back that spending. Let's think about really who's winning and who's losing on that. You can tell me, you can correct me if I'm wrong. So either you're going to pay an individual to be able to use the tools to get the job done in a timely fashion, right, or you're going to pay for the tools to make sure that the employees can be able to utilize them. So where do you break off? What is the loss or the gap there between the two? And I think leaning on the humans to be able to pay for the tools will be your best bet. Because remember, Randy, we were looking at an article particularly to Ford and making sure that they was cutting back because they wanted to make sure that a lot of the employees can utilize some tools versus just leaning it up to AI and automation itself. So if you're gonna have to pick a side, it's more should be the side of investing into your employees to use the tools. So I don't understand the cap, and then that's my personal opinion there. I don't understand the cap there.
Yeah, and as you're out there right now, I think the cautionary tale, y'all, is, and why we want to talk about this from a employment perspective, because we're looking at all of these kinds of things. Now we have on one hand, you may be at home off work, and we got a tool that we want to show you that we've created that might help you get back to work faster, right? But you might be at home. And the question becomes, while you're at home looking for work, you're going to maybe use some AI tools. Just be careful because you can use up a lot of the family budget. Now, this is where we dip a little bit into the life part of what AshRand Career Solutions likes to talk about, right? It's mostly about career stuff, but we also know that within businesses, we like to hit those business models because here's an effect of it. And then we also like to talk about life stuff because guess what? You could blow up your life by being off work and spending more. Mm-hmm. I'm just saying now, I don't know how y'all get down to y'all house, but you let me be in my little office here running up bills and not bringing no cash in. I'm just saying.
That's a big no-no.
My wife loves me, but she would go, hey, buddy. That's a consideration.
So how do you lean on the tools without running up a check, right? That's the big gamut there.
Yeah. And in this article, what Elon was talking about for the employees, what they did was they created a tool within their business. Now and it looks like I'm getting a little static when I change screens, y'all. So forgive me. I'll try to get rid of it, but maybe not. I might edit them out. But anyway, so what happened was they created an internal platform. What it did was it gave them access to like OpenAI, Anthropic. It gave them access to, of course, XAI and then Cursor. And then because a lot of workers were using their personal accounts, so they was like, hey, we'll pay for it. And I guess they must have, the employee says, oh, you're going to give us access to these other tools and you're going to pay for it? Oh, yeah. So they started kind of going out of hand, I think. And I would assume that was charging a lot of money. A lot of companies are doing this right now. Keep in mind, these companies have to go out and pay for the computation cost of using these tools, even though their employees have to use these tools. So let's say you're going for a job. Now, let's take this personal. I would be wondering, if I'm going for a job, Ash, I would be wondering, hey, what tool do y'all use? This is a good question to ask in your interview. What AI tools are you guys using right now? None. Yeah, I'm not coming to that company. But if you're going to the kind of position that you would be required to use AI tools, knowing which one they use could help you, in the interview, and get this, Ashley, a lot of companies have been making people do certain tests that shows that they are AI native. Have you heard about that?
No, I did hear about that, but I want to challenge you on something too, just a little bit here.
Do it.
When you mentioned making sure that everyone, when you guys are applying for those jobs and trying to figure out what AI tools they are utilizing, that's a starting point, right? We don't want that to be your ending point. We want you to make sure you keep an open mind. But being able to know those platforms is good, but then also being willing to learn new platforms to be able to help you stay above that curve as well. So just keep that open just a little bit so that you can go in and have the knowledge necessary to excel.
Yeah, it's really funny. On one hand, because I use so many different tools, on one hand, I feel like I'm pretty well versed in a lot of different tools. I can conversate with people about different things. But then the other day I had a guy that was just running circles around me because he uses one. And I was a little envious. I was like, man, I got off the phone and he had already produced something and sent it over to me. And I'm like, I would be thinking about what tool am I going to use? Which one's going to give me the best all these. So on one hand, you kind of go, well, be well versed, but this is my rebuttal, y'all, to Ashley, what she said. On one hand, it could be beneficial that you learn a lot of different things, but what I'm finding, even in myself, is that you will go a mile wide, but an inch deep.
Okay.
Right? So as you're learning these different tools, and guys, look, you're seeing a lot of people advertise. They got one lady out there, every time I turn on YouTube, she's in my face talking about her summit. And I actually went to it. Maybe it's because I'm just a part of her retargeting, but she's in it all the time. Now, I think she's making a nice little bag because she is advertising so much. She's spending millions of dollars, but she's just decided this is who she is and this is what she's going to do. I went to her very first one. I didn't get any new information. So I was like, well, but so you're going to be seeing a whole bunch of people, Tony Robbins and Dean Graziosi, everybody, Russell Brunson, they're all talking about AI, learn AI, blah, 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 right? So you're going to have to discern and decide. You can go very, very deep with one tool, but understand what's underlying that tool. You know what I mean by that, Ash? When I say what's underlying?
Yes.
You just don't seem excited today. What's going on?
No, I was thinking about... No, excitement is there. I was actually... My wheels were turning in. When you say underlining, are you thinking about all of the features that the tool has utilizing? Like, expand a little bit more on that.
Yeah, well, understand this, y'all, is that if you understand this thing is a coat and it's wrapping something, then you can get to the underlying tool. For example, you have OpenAI, which has ChatGPT. A lot of people know ChatGPT. You have Claude, which is Anthropic, right? And you may not know Anthropic, but you know Claude. Okay, I've heard about Claude. Yeah, and then you've got, some of the Chinese models and all that kind of stuff who have been trained on, because some of them have taken the information. They kind of back their way into getting these information from these tools. And there's some lawsuits on that. But anyway, if you understand what's wrapping the thing you're using, it's like, what is the underlying tool? The ideal is to get to that. All right. And I don't want to be talking over my skis here or nothing like that. But this is, once you learn it, you'll kind of get an idea of how each one performs. I kind of know how OpenAI's tools perform. I kind of know, and I can look at something that's been created and I says, you did that with Replit, didn't you? And then they go, yep. And I go, well, Replit is just, it's a wrapper for Anthropic. And I was like, yeah, because I can almost tell that is a, Claude wrapper. And you kind of go, okay. So anyway, I say this to say, when you're going and you're doing like an interview, for example, understanding levels deep on that. Now, Ashley and I, we can help you with this because I do this all the time. And we can help you with this if you got some questions. So just put it in the comments and ask us, what do you mean by that? And then I'll go ahead and respond. But now, here is something that came up, Ashley. I sent you a notice on it. You saw the one that talked about Ford rehiring. I want to get to that. Yeah. So get this, y'all. Ford rehires human engineers after AI falls short. What's going on, Ashley? Why? I thought AI was supposed to get rid of people and save them money.
And so here's my thought, right? I think that although AI is a very great tool to utilize at the moment, it is not quite as smart as we think it is quite yet. Right? A lot of AI tools still needs that human touch. Actually, we talk about this in our previous podcasts, where a lot of employers are looking for those human skills because those are necessary, right? And I think that's where they found out sooner rather than later that it was necessary to have a human behind that, because again, with AI and production and automation, there's some things that may be missed that a human could actually be able to catch, and to make sure that they can expand and have that product work well, or whatever they're building at that time. And with Ford, obviously there's an automotive company, so I would assume it was any type of production. And you can lose production costs, not being able to make sure that everything is where it needs to be. So again, this is why Ford leaned on hiring a human engineer versus leaning on an AI, because again, they're not smart enough at this point in time.
Yeah, and they're doing some, and you're probably going to face this too when you do your interview and they ask you, are you AI native? In other words, do you use it? And then how you use it? And then tests. I'm actually thinking, Ashley, we might be able to create something that helps people that are going to go to those interviews, especially now that we've got this other tool, this resume tool that might help them.
Oh, yeah.
We might be able to think about a couple of things that helps them become very AI native very quickly, or at least enough to get by, get hired, and then they get time to learn and money to learn. I don't know. I'm just hypothesizing, y'all. You tell me, y'all tell us in the comments if you want us to build you something based on our experiences that will help you get AI native, because some people are like, they're too young to stop working. And they may believe, well, I'm too old to learn something new, which we think is a false narrative. But look what Ford did. And here's what it says. It says that Ford hired 350 of what it calls graybeard engineers, aka experienced human workers, to train both younger staff and AI tools. Now, and it's why we, Ashley and I, and our age difference, which we will not tell you here, ever. But this is why we do this, and we came together almost as a result because of it, because I wanted to be able to talk to some seasoned workers And then Ashley, being of the age she is, she can have conversation about somebody on the come up. All right, that's getting kind of loud, Ash. What was that? Is that is that just our machines making that noise?
I don't hear anything else other than the machines. Did you hear something?
Yeah, it just sounds like a kind of a pretty bad humming noise.
Okay.
It sounds like it's like air flowing. Let me see if it's mine.
Okay, give me a second. It might be mine.
What is it? A fan?
Yeah, it's a fan, and it might be doing a weird air noise.
Let's see. It's not this one because I just turned it off. It might be my internal. That's exactly what it was.
Yeah, gone. Bye-bye.
It got loud.
Okay.
Anyway, so get this. So on one hand, Ashley, they are talking about, hiring older folks. So, okay, you're older. You now have experience that companies are calling, but you have to understand AI in such a way that you can bring that experience. This is the wonderful thing, and I'm doing some work on some of my other programs and stuff in this space. I'm saying, here's all right here, but it needs to be somewhere else so it can be used and leveraged. And now you can get paid for that. I wish this was the pod to talk about what Cloudflare just did in micropayments, but we don't.
We don't go down that road.
Oh, not today, but it's exciting for those of us that know stuff. It's being able to get a micropayment and have it taken care of and have it sent over to your account. And it's so much wonderful stuff. Anyway, so the CEO said, the new and improved human system is cutting down on costs like warranty coverage and recalls, helping it save hundreds of millions of dollars. Just saying. So it all comes back to a worker.
It does. It really does. We have to think about how we can sustain that model, though. That's one of my questions. But
how do you sustain that model? I don't know. I can just say, hey, listen, we want to make sure that you get the job so that you can not be at home running up compute costs or AI costs affecting your family and your workplace. You don't want to have a $20 bill turn into $2,700 like one of my friends did. You just don't want that. Trust me.
No, not at all. Especially with platforms that don't show you exactly where you're at when you're spending down the dollars. That's not helpful. Here's
an insight. This is something that you sent me. Gallup said this. Rising AI adoption spurs workforce changes. Now we're in that space, workforce change, obviously with this podcast talking about these kind of things. They said that employees actually are reporting productivity gains with AI, but not fundamental shifts in how work gets done. I think that could be a problem. What are your thoughts?
No, I think it's a huge problem because you think about it on a day-to-day, right? Like you use a sense of AI, but again, just like I mentioned before, it's not quite exactly where it needs to be. So sometimes you have to spend time even reviewing AI. I don't know if anyone else have seen that, but I know sometimes in my day-to-day, even when I'm sending emails or just simple chats and I want to get it cleaned up, and I look over AI and it didn't quite capture exactly what I was trying to convey. So I spent time not only just trying to utilize it, but then also having to review it and then send out. So sometimes the AI tools, as you continue to develop them, it's just going to take that time.
Yeah. And even more as I looked at that and I started thinking, how could this be, of value to our audience and people that might be listening and wanting to get back out there into the workforce right now? Again, we got a tool here. Excuse me, y'all. I'm kicking something. Not someone.
Something.
It was a cord. Settle down. Anyway, so I was wondering how this could help the folks that we're talking to. They're going to be going back into the workforce. That's one. They now know that they absolutely need skills, period. There's no two ways about it. You do need more skills. Okay. But then you hear something like this, that AI adoption is coinciding with the workforce shifts, right? But that it's not making work get done differently. Wait, what? They're saying that, hey, yeah, we are, and I'm paraphrasing y'all. I'm a little more productive, but I still do the same thing. Still pick up a shovel. I just do it faster.
With time, I definitely think it may change. And it depends on what type of work that you do as well. That can help, right? There's a difference because if your job functions are mainly processes, emails, or even organization, yes, AI can play a huge part into that because it can help you right now. But again, just like Randy said, if you got to pick up a shovel and it helps you, right? Like pick up a shovel faster, AI can pick up that shovel for you, right? It's that difference between the human touch that's necessary versus what AI can do. So I think it's pertinent to have AI do it. AI needs to do, and then the human touch needs to come in on the human touch there.
It's like, y'all, we talk about at one moment the job apocalypse, because Ashley and I and some other podcasts have talked about that. And that's what you were seeing at first. People were like, okay, we got AI, throw everybody out. Okay, we got AI, bring everybody back.
Yep.
So, wait, what? Yeah, because we got AI, we're not getting nothing done.
So
and this is what I think, here's the opportunity for you. On one hand, like this article is talking about, well, people that aren't using AI, they're hiring at a certain level. People that are using AI, they're hiring and firing at a certain level. Mm-hmm. So the ultimate question I would have you ask yourself, do you believe you will more likely need AI understanding? I mean, do you more likely believe you're going to need this training? What do you think, Ashley? I mean, if we have somebody came to you and says, Ashley, tell me straight. Tell it to me straight. Am I going to need AI in this new job?
Short answer from me, if someone asks directly, would be yes, right? So I think what we'll need to know is, what do you want to learn? What do you think you need to grasp onto? Because you're going to need AI. Mm-hmm. Short answer, yes. You're going to need to learn it at some point. But what do you need to learn about it is our question. And you can plot that in the chat.
Yeah, pop it in the chat. Pop it in the comment section, y'all. What do you think you might need? But I can tell you this, what they will need, and this is something that I have been noticing, and maybe we should show a couple of, show an image of this, is you're going to need a different kind of resume.
Oh, yeah.
Okay, there's people out there doing these resumes, but the paper resume, which I have done hundreds of, probably, and I have learned a couple things. Ashley, how would you say you've done hundreds?
I've done hundreds of resumes as well, and I think we're getting to a point, just like AI, the resumes will shift just a little bit.
I have been doing work in this area, and Ashley and I, we want to bring this as an opportunity to you. I'm going to go ahead and share the screen real quick, Ash. Mm-hmm. And I want to show the newer type of resumes that you're going to want to go out into the marketplace with. Trust me on this, y'all. You're definitely going to want to have an interactive resume. Now, what does this do? It moves. It does things, right? Now, this is one I did, and I do have permission to show his resume. It is more than just a paper. And now the wonderful thing about this, I was talking with a guy the other day who just recently lost his job. And I says, hey, I'd like to do your resume for you. And he says, oh, I could have AI do my resume. I says, not like I'm going to do it.
No.
Because I'm going to pour in, years of experience. I'm going to be able to pour in and show people very specific things about what you do, what you have done in this particular case. Not just show them the certifications. Like here, they'll be interactive because they can click on things and then go to stuff in a whole different way. That's why what we're going to be doing is showing you or creating these things for you. Now, we've put in my opinion, a very good investment amount. What I didn't show you, Ash, is that depending on who it is, if you put it in the comment section that you would like a reduction in the pricing, maybe we'll do it. I don't know. Ashley might get me on this one, but we have an opportunity to do these things in a specific way, bringing in our intelligences, bringing in our experiences, and getting these things done for you. I've brought these down to a certain amount. I'm not going to say. If you want it, you just in the comment section says, I would like this new style of resume. And then what I will do is send it to you or send you the link where you can get yours. And I've got instructions on what to do and all that kind of stuff. And then what you'll be getting is not somebody reading a book and not somebody going to some, janky AI tool and blah, blah, blah. You're going to be getting a lot of years of experience.
Oh, yes.
You're going to get business experience, because here's what I do when I'm doing them is I put in being a business owner, and I think about what would I want from somebody. So there's going to be an area where you have the opportunity to demonstrate what you have done. As you notice what I did with that other resume, where you can demonstrate. This is a little bit different than on paper, somebody looking at it going, Now, why this becomes a higher level opportunity for you is because we can then bring people to the resume versus you sending it out. Now, I'm not going to show you and talk about much of that, but this is a very strategic way we do these things. I'll share just enough because Ashley's looking at me like, well, shoot, give me one.
No, I know where you was headed.
It's like, without giving it all away, it is a very specific way that we go out and match up who's best for you to see your resume. That's all. I don't want to say too much. But that becomes what happens with these kind of resumes that we do. It's not the old, run-of-the-mill kind of thing, y'all. It is something different, and it is what's happening now because people want to see a demonstration, just saying.
That's it.
Of your skill set. A little bit more than, that's what you told me, but I have no demonstration, so I think maybe I'm going to go with another candidate. I don't want my friends saying that, and I don't want my friends to hear that from somebody they're sitting down. We went with another candidate. And you're like, you want to say why?
They won't.
Well, they demonstrated. Maybe they had one of these. Any questions on that, Ash?
No, I think that's great. Being able to make that transformation, kind of have all your information into one spot. Because I know sometimes a 1-page or even 2-page resume don't necessarily tell that full story. And so having something exactly like this would be pertinent too. Mm-hmm.
Well, that's all we have for y'all. We're going to close it up. Understanding, and we'll kind of do a little bit of a recap. Understand that companies are doing everything they can to cap the cost of AI tools. And guess what? You should too if you're at home. Our job is to say, hey, get back to work. Let's see if we can use some of these tools that we leverage to get you back to work much quickly. We like to call it rapid reemployment using different kind of tools. Let's see if we can put something very impressive, not the same old, in front of your potential employer. And if you do need some of these training things, like I need to get boned up on this AI stuff. Well, we can help too because I do a lot of it, and I know Ashley, when she has time, she's deep into it too. So if you want that, let us know in the comment section. We're going to make this available. It is ready to go right now if you want it. So just let us know. And man, Ash, I know what these things cost because I've seen them and I've sold them. Mm-hmm. So we might be able to get you some monies off depending on a few other factors, and you might just have to, I don't know, stand on one foot and ask us or something. I don't know. Anything you want to say before we get out of here, Ash?
No, just let us know exactly what you need. We can be able to produce that for you. We want to make sure you can enter the workforce, stay a part of it, and stay abreast of it.
Get you rapidly employed.
Absolutely.
All right, we'll talk to you next time, y'all.
Yep.
Peace.
Bye.